Welcome to January's Vegan Kitchen, or welcome back, hopefully. Anyway, what we're going to make today is 2 different kinds of cheese sauces. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to make a cheese sauce that you would use on broccoli and cauliflower, or cauliflower by itself. And then we're going to make a cheese sauce that you would use in macaroni and cheese. Of course, these could be interchanged for each other. It's just the first one is super incredibly easy. The second one is a little bit more elaborate, but also easy as well. So this is going to give you 2 options. And you can even work with these to, combine them to create your own signature cheese sauce. So I encourage you to do that, to work with these different ingredients and, experiment with the dimensions and see what you can come up with. Now this first one, we're going to use flour, oil. I'm going to use a coconut oil just because I like the way that it adds a little something. You can use olive oil. It really doesn't matter. We're just going to use a little bit of that. And, of course, our nutritional yeast. This is, I think I've told you before, but if you weren't here for that, nutritional yeast is a little different than brewer's yeast or the kind of yeast that you would bake with. You can find this as any health food store and a lot of other stores, grocery stores that carry bulk. You'll see this. And so this is what gives it a cheesy flavor. Of course, our fresh ground pepper, salt, garlic powder, and we're going to use a little bit of lemon juice in this as well. Okay. We're going to add some other ingredients in and do it a little differently for the next cheese sauce. But for the first one, this is what we're going to use. Okay. All right, so what I've done is I steamed some broccoli, just a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to put the broccoli in a bowl or something. I'm going to take the coconut oil. We're just going to make a simple roux with just a little bit of coconut oil. This is a flatware tablespoon. I'm going to throw that into that dry pot. It's already on. To that, we're going to add some flour. And so what we want to do is just add, it's going to come out to about 4 measuring tablespoons worth of flour. We're going to mix that in. So to that, I'm going to add just a bit of salt, and that's going to be, of course, to taste. I want a little bit of the garlic powder, not a lot, just a little bit. And so, give it a little shake of that. We're going to start with about 1/2 cup here of soy milk. Again, you can use any kind of nut milk. You can use oat milk for this, which is super easy to make. And on one of the next episodes, I'm going to show you how to make oat milk and some other really super simple milks. But oat milk is super easy and incredibly cheap as well. All right, so we've got this. We're going to put that in there. Mix it up. That's going to thicken really quickly. Put the garlic in there. Fresh ground pepper. We have our little mixture here. It's nice and hot, and what you want to do is you want to cook it until it gets to a good thick consistency. This one, you can see that it's thickened. It's not super thick, but that's okay because as it gets cool, it's really hot right now. As it gets cooler, of course, it's going to thicken. All right, so at this point, we are going to add our nutritional yeast. So we're going to put in, just almost about 1/4 cup there. You can see about 1/4 cup. Throw that in there. Turn the heat off. If it's nice and hot, turn it off. If not, it's fine if it's simmering. And then we're going to mix that in. And it's going to get a lot thicker now. Look at that. Here's a little trick. And we're not going to do that today, but if you're really creative, what you want to do is you want to change the color of this. You can add a little bit of carrot juice, like fresh carrot juice, or add some paprika. That'll help a little bit. The carrot juice, though, makes it really pretty. All right, so I'm going to put some paprika in there. It's going to change it just a little bit, but you still have mostly, it's going to be a yellower consistency or color, a thick consistency there. And the next ingredient we're going to use is a teeny bit of lemon juice just to give it a little bit of tang. And this is up to you, so you want to taste it as we go along to decide what you want to add and not add. But I'm going to, I'll show you here. If you have the regular measuring teaspoons, that's going to be about a teaspoon. Mix all this up. Then we have our broccoli over there. Let's taste this. It's good. Okay. Oh, look at that. Sweet. Oh, yeah. So there we go. It's nice and thick. You can mix that up if you want or leave it the way it is. And get some broccoli and cheese sauce. All right, so that was very, very basic cheese sauce. And the neat thing about that is you can start with that. You can add more liquid if you like. If you want more of a fondue type sauce, you want to make the roux adding a little bit of white wine to get that tang that the fondue sauces often have. If you want more of a nacho sauce, and again, you know, we may hit on these in later episodes, but a nacho sauce, you can add the Rotel tomatoes in a can. You can add, I like the green chilies in there. I'm going to give you another little hint too that I thought was kind of added some neat flavor that I use is olive juice. And that's going to give you a little bit of a different kind of tang than the lemon juice will. And for burritos and nachos and that sort of thing, you might want to add a little bit of that, try some of that. So those are just a couple of ideas to take the basic sauce and do some different things with it. Next, we're going to make macaroni and cheese. Now, you can totally use the sauce we just made for macaroni and cheese if you want, but I like a lighter, maybe a bit creamier sauce. And so we're going to use our basic stuff here. Some oil, any oil of your choosing. I just use coconut because I like the flavor of it. The soy milk, the flour, a little bit of lemon juice. We're going to use the nutritional yeast, salt, garlic powder, and the fresh ground pepper. And I'm going to put a little bit of paprika in there. But what I'm going to add is cashews. These are just cashew pieces. I buy them in bulk. And I use cashews for a lot of things. We make cheeses and cheesecake and other desserts with the cashews. And it's just, there's a lot of amazing things you can do with these cashews. So what we're going to do is measure out about a half a cup here. So about a half a cup. We want to soak these overnight. When you soak the cashews, the consistency changes. They're going to grow just a little bit. And they're no longer crispy at all. Once they soak overnight, they kind of get bleached out too. The color is really, really nice. You can use these to thicken sauces and things like that as well. And if you bite into it, it has a consistency of a bean that's cooked, but a little bit al dente. All right, so we're going to take the cashews that have been soaking, and we'll drain most of the water out. They don't have to be dry by any means, so you can just use your hand. Just drain a lot of the water out, and we're going to measure out about a half a cup of those. They're going in the blender with some other stuff. All right, so this recipe, I had 1 cup of dry macaroni, which I boiled. Now it's, of course, several cups. Okay. So to the blender, we're going to add our half a cup of cashews. add a cup of soy milk or whatever kind of milk you want to use. Some salt, just a little bit. And again, you'll salt this later to taste if you want. Just a couple dashes of garlic powder. I'm going to put my paprika in there, a couple of dashes of that just for color. So we're measuring out just a little less than a quarter of a cup. Okay, so it's a scant quarter of a cup. That goes in there. The flour, we're going to use about 1/8 of a cup, maybe a teeny bit less than that. That's going to thicken it up a bit. All right, so I'm going to put these in the blender so that the cashews can get ground up. You want them to get nice and ground up, but they don't have to be completely ground up. I think it tastes good to have little bits of them in there, and they're really super soft. So a little bit more there. Okay. All right, so we have this sauce, and it's not quite ready. I'm going to add dining room teaspoon. That's my new phrase of lemon juice. Mix that up a little bit. All right, so this is not done because it has to be cooked, and that's what's going to thicken it. Now, I already made the macaroni, and there it is. That's about a cup dry, which is several cups cooked. If you want to, you can put them in there together and cook them. I'm going to put them in a pot, put this in a pot. Here's something that you can do if you want to add to this. If you'd like, you can add just a little bit, like maybe you have a little bit of leftover tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, stewed tomatoes. It's going to change the color a little, and it adds a little bit of just a little more tanginess. Then we are going to cook it. I want to cook this on low. And stirring piece. You won't really need the wire whisk for this because everything is blended up. You do not want this to boil. It's okay if it simmers a little bit. It should be just fine. Okay, so we're going to put it on low, not the lowest, but pretty low. You want to taste it. It's good. If you want to, you don't have to wait till it's thick to put the macaroni in there. You can let macaroni go in there even though it's cooked. I mean, it'll still soak some of it up. So that's just fine. The color is just about perfect. Can you see that? Now the consistency isn't perfect yet because it's still cold, but it'll cook and it'll thicken up. But isn't that pretty? Isn't that a nice color? Yeah. So it cooks for about 5 minutes on low or until it gets to the consistency that you like, the thickness that you like. But let's take a look. I'll let this cook for about 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes or something like that. And you can see how it's nice and thick there. It's nice, yeah. You know what you can also do, and when I was growing up, my mom would make macaroni and cheese from scratch, and then she would put it in the oven and bake it with breadcrumbs on it. Yeah. Really nice, really nice. You can do that as well. But here we have it. There we go. This will serve a couple of people. All right, so here we've got it. Macaroni and cheese. And so you've got 2 different super easy cheese sauces to try. Switch it up. Combine the recipes. Do whatever you like. Experiment it. Make your own signature cheese sauce. And either way, you're going to enjoy it quite a bit. I know I have. Well, I got to go because I need to eat the rest of this. Thank you so much for joining me in January's Vegan Kitchen. And I hope you will join me next time. We'll be doing some more fun cooking.